It's cool. Oh, I wasn't looking.
You're right. What is the mystery all about?
There's no mystery here.
What's the mystery?
Ladies and gentlemen, tour number 13 at 2:20 is about to begin. If you have a ticket for this tour, please sign the yellow Blackburn South. Once again, that is tour number 13 at 2:20. Thanks very much.
Today, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Doing good. I'm doing good as well. Thank you for asking. Has anyone been to the Mystery Spot before? Show of hands. Yes, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Thank you for coming on back. I hope that some of you will come again. I'm going to start off with a little history behind the mystery. The Mystery Spot was first purchased in 1939 by a man named George Prather. Now, Mr. Prather was originally only interested in buying the flat land right down there. He wanted to build a summer home upon it. It is now our lovely parking lot. But the lumber company that was selling him the land said that if he wanted to buy the land, he had to also buy this hillside right here. And that hillside there in a package deal. So Mr. Prather, he thought this over. And he realized, well, it was still a really good deal. So he went ahead and bought it. And as he was signing the papers for the lumber company, he mentioned to them that he was thinking about building a cabin right up here on this hillside. The lumber company told him, though, that that was a bad idea because anything they'd ever built on this hillside had slid off its foundations and had fallen down the hill. They told him he could build anything he wanted on the flatland and anything he wanted on that hillside, but that anything he built on this hillside would slide off its foundations. And Mr. Prather thought this was rather strange because that hillside is rather steeper than this hillside here. So one day he hired a group of surveyors that came out here to survey this land. And they started walking up this hill. And as they walked up this hill, they noticed that it seemed as if a strange force was pushing them back down. They also noticed that their compasses weren't working properly. Depending on where they stood on this hillside, their compasses could be having up to 180-degree variations. That means that north was pointing south, and south was pointing north. They also noticed that these effects, they stopped suddenly in an area 150 feet in diameter. This area runs right through these two blocks right here, and through these trees, up and around and back down, with that cabin there at the exact center. This area soon became known as, can anyone guess? The Mystery Spot. And these blocks were placed here to mark the boundary of the Mystery Spot, with this right here outside of the Mystery Spot. So I'm sorry to everyone on this side. You're not yet inside the Mystery Spot. You're probably feeling ordinary, maybe a little bit bored. Well, this right here, this is inside the Mystery Spot. So congratulations to everyone on this side. Yes, you've made it into the Mystery Spot. probably feeling pretty mysterious right now. Now, when these blocks were first placed here, they were exactly level. But as this tree here grew, its roots offset them, making them not level. So we here at the Mystery Spot, we hired a group of engineers to come out here to try to find a solution to this problem. They found one and told us that it would cost $100,000. We thought this over and we agreed, and we paid them this, and they went to Home Depot and came back with these 2x4s. Yes. To show you that these 2x4s are level, I'm going to take this level. But first of all, I'm going to explain to those of you who don't know how a level works. If this bubble right here is in the exact center, it means that it is level or flat. But if the bubble rises to one side, it means that that is the higher side. Now there's some ways you can fix a level, of course. One way being you can freeze that bubble in the center. But as you can see, the bubble moves, which obviously proves that it's not frozen in the center. So I'm going to place it on, just like so. And can you tell me, is that bubble right there in the center? Mm-hmm. It is? Yeah. But another way you could fix level is make one side a little bit taller than the other. So I'll flip it around, and I'll place it back down. Is it still right there in the center? Yeah, right. So that 2x4 there is level. I'll place it over here. And it's still level. Flip it around. It's still right there in the center. So these 2x4s here, they are level. So now I'm going to need 2 volunteers to come on down. 2 volunteers. Try. Maybe someone about his size.
Perfect.
Stand up on the 2x4s there. You want to stand over here?
Stand on the other side, Avery. Just like the, yes.
Facing towards him.
Okay. So I'm going to measure your eye levels, okay? So, you, sir, you're a little bit taller, okay? You're staring about middle of her forehead there. You, miss, you're staring about just below his nose, okay? Now go ahead and switch places. So you, miss, you've just entered the mystery spot. Something strange has happened. You have shrunken. Yes. You are now definitely the taller one. You're staring above the top of her head. You, miss, you're now staring about at his chest. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. So you enter the mystery spot and you shrink. Does anyone else want to try this? What I've noticed is that you are all leaning as well. Take a look around you. Now you can see this lean a little bit better if you take your feet, place them together, and face down. When you look on down towards your feet, you'll notice that they're way out in front of you. And that's because you're leaning. And also, unlike on a normal hill, your weight isn't on your toes there. It's on your heels. That's because you're leaning backward like a bunch of smooth criminals. Some of you got that one. Yeah. Michael Jackson's smooth criminals. But also, if you take your feet facing on towards the cabin right over here, take your feet facing on. When you look on down towards your feet, you'll notice that they're way out to your left. You can still see that lean any direction you face. Now it probably looks, though, like I'm leaning more than you. And that is because I'm a trained professional in the art of leaning. Yes, they don't allow just anyone to have these jackets. If you want, you can buy them. And the real reason that I appear to be leaning more than you is because of this screw doorway right here. It leans in one direction and I'm leaning the opposite direction, which creates opposing angles, creating an optical illusion which exaggerates my lean. Now, I have a demonstration on the outside of this cabin, but before I do, a little history. This cabin was not built here. This cabin was actually built around 20 feet up the hill. But just like the lumber company told Mr. Prather, it soon slid off its foundations, came to stop right here. Does anyone want to take a guess as to why it may have stopped here?
The tree?
That's a really good guess. There's a giant tree right there. Now that makes sense, but this land, does anyone remember who it was bought from? Yeah, the lumber company. What do lumber companies do?
Cut down trees.
Yeah, they cut down trees. So that tree right there was not here. In fact, all the trees you see around you, they were not here. This land had been completely clear cut. The cabin stopped here because the exact center of the mystery spot. And this cabin's also around 70 years old. I know it looks rather new, but because we had to replace these boards here because they're rotting, like the fence over there. We can't have a rotten cabin. That tree is only around 40 to 45 years old. So this cabin was here around 30 years before that tree. So now I'm going to bring something out of this cabin. And I'm going to give it a name. And after I do that, I need every one of you very loud and very enthusiastic. Ooh! And ah! Like you're very impressed, okay? Every one of you very loud, very enthusiastic, so everyone down the hill can hear you. I present the board of Mystery! Okay, that was terrible. We're going to try one more time. Everyone, very loud, very enthusiastic. Ooh and ah. The board of Mystery! Ooh. Ah. There we go, thank you very much. I'm going to place my board of mystery just like so. Now the board of mystery doesn't look very mysterious, right? It looks rather ordinary. But I'm going to show you just how mysterious the board is. But first of all, raise your hand if you think that this end right here is the higher side of the board that it slopes in towards the cabin. Does anyone think that? Okay. Now raise your hand if you think that this board is actually a flat and level surface. And raise your hand if you think that this end right here is the lower side of the board that it slopes out. I saw about 12 hands there. Means about 12 of you didn't vote, and some of you voted twice. So I'll give you a fourth option. Raise your hand if you're not thinking at all. Yeah, thank you for your honesty. Yeah. It looks like most of us, but don't worry, you don't have to think. I'm going to take my level, I'm going to place it on just like so. Now, show of hands, does someone want to come on up, check that this is level? You want to come on up, sir? You see that bubble? Yeah. Is it right there in the center? Yeah. It is. But make sure one side's not taller than the other. I'll flip it around. It's still right there in the center. Yeah. It is. And the bubble is moving. Yeah. Thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause. The bubble was in the center, which means that this is a flat and level surface. So what happens when you place a ball on a flat and level surface? Yeah, nothing happens, right? It stays still. So I'll place it on a flat and level surface. What you'll see, it rolls on. And I'll roll it inside the cabin. It will stop. And it will come on. You might be thinking, though, the board could be rigged. Now maybe that groove there is cut in a V shape as the ball rolls in. Could get narrower, making the ball roll out towards the wider end. But to disprove that, I'll flip the board around. If that were actually the case, I'm rolling it now, we'll just continue going. But you'll see, it still stops and comes on back out, so that can't be the case. I can place it all the way in at the very end of the board, and still it comes on back out. I can stop it at any point along the board, and it still rolls on out. So maybe it's a ball right here. Maybe this ball has a magnet inside, a motor, something like that. So then when you hear anything cylindrical, like chapstick, water bottle, something that rolls, a small child maybe. Chapstick, lipstick, water bottle, anything that rolls. Oh yeah, there we go. We have a ball. I'll place it on. And as you can see, it rolls in. So it can't be my ball, right? Stops. Moves on back out. But you could not trust him. You could think he must obviously work for the Mystery Spot, right? So I'll take my water bottle here. I'll pour a little water on. And as you can see, it rolls on out. And you can't rig water. So now we're going to go inside this cabin here, but I want to ask you, don't stop in the doorway, please. Just come all the way in. There'll be time to take photos after I'm done with my demonstrations. Just come all the way in, everyone, as quickly as possible. Demonstrating the famous 17-degree lean that we saw there down that picture of Life magazine. You can see that lean a little bit better if I stand here, like so, on the edge of the table. This looks pretty awesome, right? You can do some cool poses, like Rose on Titanic. Yeah, that's better than 3D, right? Also, Superman. But when you're up here, please be careful, because if you lean too far, you will fall. And also, if you jump, you won't land. We think you will land. So please be careful. There's a step ladder here to climb up and down. Now, people think it's a floor that causes us to lean. So does someone want to grab on those handlebars above the door and dangle from them? Does someone want to try that? Watch out, sir. Watch out. Move on now. Just go ahead and dangle. As you can see, he falls at the same angle that we lean at, which proves it's not the floor causing us to lean. Also, if you have something on a string, like a purse, a camera, something like that, anything on a string, hold it out, someone. String. Maybe you want to hold that string on the camera. Yeah, and just hold it out. And see, it falls at the same angle, so it can't be the floor causing us to lean. So now, everyone, we're going to go inside that second room. You will have time to take photos afterwards in this room. Just let me finish my demonstrations in the second room. So everyone move on. Swings back and forth equally in both directions. So this pendulum should swing equally. We're going to see if that holds true inside the mystery spot, though. I'll center it on my body. I'll give it a little push. Stretch out my arms. But as you can see, it's favoring this side by a couple of inches. Do you see that? That favors this side. Well, that should not be happening. Also, if I push this way, it's really easy. But when I push towards the center of the cabin, it becomes rather hard, as if a force were pushing down against it. Now, when you're using this, please be careful because it's 32 pounds, and if it hits you, it will really hurt. And another important fact to know about the pendulum is that it's made out of lead. And lead cannot be magnetized. So we didn't magnetize this. Not a trick. Just stand straight up on that platform. As you can see, he's leaning at the same angle that I'm leaning at, yet we're standing on different surfaces, proving once again it's not the floor causing us to lean. Thank you very much. So this right here may look like a ladder, but we here at the Mystery Spot call it the staircase. The reason is you cannot climb up a ladder this easily. Now this doesn't prove anything, but it looks really awesome. And you can take some cool photos. So now everyone, you will have time to move out the cabin, take photos, have fun, play with all these demonstrations. But I want to ask, please head out into the sitting courtyard, because there's more of the tour to go, and another group's going to try and come in, and we don't want to hold them up, okay? So move out the cabin, take photos, have fun, play with all these demonstrations, go about the cabin, everyone.
Go back over there.
Just watch out.
Oh, you guys want to go on yet? Very neat.
Mention they take a little breather. But just like everything else at the Mystery Spot, we soon noticed that it had some strange properties. Now I'm going to show you those strange properties. First of all, I'll take my level, place it on over here. And tell me, where's that bubble going? And it's going to that side right. That's the higher side right there. And that is the lower side. That is uphill, and that is downhill. You can also see that my ball doesn't roll very well on a flat surface. I mean on a wet surface, but if I pour it on like so, you'll see that it rolls on downhill. So that is always the downhill side throughout the entire length of the bench. So what should happen to your height when you walk downhill? Okay, you should get shorter when you walk downhill, right? So what is happening as I walk downhill? I'm getting taller. I should be getting shorter. I'm walking downhill. What should happen to your height when you walk uphill? You should get taller when you walk uphill on a normal surface, right? But what is happening as I walk uphill? Yeah, I'm getting shorter. Now you might be thinking though that could have something to do with this roof right here. That as I walk downhill, my head gets closer to the roof, which makes it appear like I'm getting taller. Now as I walk uphill, my head goes way below this roof, which makes it appear like I'm getting shorter. But I'm going to show that's not the case. This is not an optical illusion. So I'm getting a volunteer who's 5'6". And when 5'8".